This project should have been a pretty simple one. Some shiplap, some floating shelves, some Rubio Mono Coat, but it turned out to be quite the pain in the butt. I used red oak for this project, purchased it from Anchor Hardwoods. If you're in the Wilmington, North Carolina area, check them out. They've got some pretty good prices, and as you can see, this red oak was pretty clean. Overall, was very happy with it, and I've actually recently ordered some more from them. My wife told me she wanted these shelves to have a whitewashed look. I knew I wanted to use Rubio Mono Coat for this because it's a lot of flat surfaces, so it's going to be pretty easy to apply and save a lot of time just having to do one coat, and I really didn't feel like adding a clear coat to it. Red oak is the ideal wood choice for this application, especially if you're doing a whitewash, because the open grain nature of red oak allows it to trap the white pigment, giving it a more enhanced whitewash look. I was pretty deliberate about the pieces of wood I decided to use for each part, whether it was the top or bottom part of the floating shelves or the mantle cover or the shelf covers. I hate wasting material, so I try to be as efficient as possible. Here I'm just getting a flat edge that I'm later going to make parallel on the table saw and just cleaning these pieces up in order to prepare them to be assembled. So here I needed to cut a rabbet in the edge of these pieces, and I was doing it by making 2 passes on the table saw. This cut I knew would result in a high probability of a kickback, so as you can see here I'm standing off to the side, and sure enough there was a pretty aggressive kickback that occurred. Fortunately for me, I wasn't hurt, but that piece did fly back and stick into my drywall about 20 feet behind me. Here I'm just creeping up, getting these pieces to their final dimensions. I didn't realize it at the time, but I had measured wrong and I didn't account for the depth of the rabbet. So you'll see here shortly, I discover it does not fit and I need to break it apart and start over. It turned out to be not that big of a deal and an easy remedy. I just had to remove some material from the inside, plane it down smooth, and reattach everything. Another mistake I made in this project was attempting to try a new method for attaching floating shelves. As you can see here, this is the plan I had in mind. All the pieces fit together pretty well in the shop, but once I mounted it to the wall, it was a complete disaster. I think it's because no drywall is perfectly flat, so when you attach the piece to the drywall, it flexes a bit, preventing it from fitting properly inside the actual shelf part on the inside. So scrap that idea. And I just went with the traditional method of hanging and mounting floating shelves, which you can see here in this diagram. And this worked fine. So if you're doing floating shelves, I recommend just doing this. Here's what it looks like. I was pretty happy with how it turned out, and I was excited to start the finishing process. This was the first time I had ever used Rubio Mono Coat, so I was excited to get started. Here I'm just giving everything a final sanding up to 120, and I think I went up to 150, blown out the residual sawdust, and then prepping for the application. Here's the stuff I used. I'll link it below. I got it on Amazon. It's a 2-part compound. You do a 1-to-3 mixing ratio. This stuff is pretty expensive. It's like $70 for the kit you see here. So I was determined to make it last. So I took my time, used syringes to get the measurements right, and then spread everything out. You definitely want to wear gloves when you're applying this stuff. Even though it's no VOC, and non-toxic, it's a hardening wax. So you can imagine getting this stuff on your fingers and in the grooves of your palms and the pores of your skin. It's a hardening wax. It's very difficult to get off. So definitely wear gloves. All you need to do to apply it is wipe it on, use a white Brillo pad, spread it out, let it set for about 10 minutes, wipe off the excess, and then you're done. It's that simple. So at this point, I'm done, or at least I thought I was done. I was pretty proud of myself. My wife seemed happy. She then goes on to tell me she wants white shiplap in the background, which would have been really awesome to know beforehand, and it would have saved me a lot of work. So now I get to take everything down and add the white shiplap, and then cut over 1/2 inch off all the floating shelves because they were designed specifically not to be resting on shiplap. So that was pretty sick. And now we are done. This project overall wasn't too terribly bad. I definitely made it harder for myself, and if I would have known I needed to do shiplap from the beginning, would have been a little bit easier. But I can check this one off the honey-do list and then focus on projects for customers again. I have to do projects like this about once a quarter to keep the old lady happy. So hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions.